What's going on, everybody? Matt Malatesta here in the Coach's Corner. This is not a Coach's Corner. This is an admin corner. Here with Brandon Baker, the new Executive Athletic Director for Klein ISD. I'm gonna call you Coach because that's how I remember you. Coach, congrats on the new job. You were the principal at Klein prior to this. Just talk about this transition and how excited you are.
Yeah, so thank you, and first of all, thanks for having me on. I'm really excited. So, as you know, and that's how you and I met a long time ago. My beginning in the district was as a teacher and a coach, and so have really always enjoyed that side of things, and have a passion for sports and athletics, and have seen as a principal, how important that is to the overall student culture and campus culture, and the success of the school. And so when this came open, I really felt like it was an opportunity that I had to look into and would be a good fit for. So I'm really excited to be here and hope to make some positive change.
So yeah, let's talk about that. I mean, man, high school athletics is changing all the time. There's so much that goes into it now, from realignment to getting kids, off to college and playing college sports. Kind of what are the things that you're trying to implement as you take this new post?
Yeah, so I mean, I think you said it perfectly. It is a ever-changing landscape, right? And so if you're not adapting to what's new, then you're falling behind. And so I think that's really what our philosophy needs to be, is that we've got to be open to what the new world of athletics is and adapt to what's best for our kids and put them in a position to be successful. But we also want to make sure we're holding tight on the things that are important to athletics, and making sure that, we're trying to do a balance of both of those things. But I think exactly what you said is true, that it is a changing landscape, and you've got to be willing to adapt and really overcome some of the challenges that are coming our way right now.
Talk about, how did becoming a principal get you prepared for this job?
So I think both jobs prepare for the other, right? So as a principal, as an assistant principal, associate principal, I really took a lot of the things that I learned as a coach and they were really applicable to what I was doing in the school administrative side of things, because it is all about communicating. It's about getting people to buy into your vision. It's about having accountability measures. And a lot of those things are built in. Like, the best coaches are really good at those things. And so those are things that I, without knowing, had been preparing for and working and learning how to lead in that way before I ever got into administration. And then I think administration helped me learn more along the lines, like the administrative side of the job in schools. Like, there's a lot of times when you're a coach, that things happen you don't necessarily agree with or you don't understand, but okay, well, I'll do it. And then as an administrator, it goes both ways. And so I think, having lived in both worlds now, it really gives me an advantage to understand what campuses need from us as an athletic department, and then also the empathy to understand like what our coaches are going through as well.
Yeah, and talk about that. You having been a coach, you kind of know the trials and tribulations of being a coach. So now moving back into kind of the manager of the coaches for Klein ISD, how are you gonna? Well, what will you do to support them?
So I think the first thing you have to do is listen. So like, the first thing that I did as soon as I got the job is reached out to every high school coordinator, and I've sat down with them one-on-one so I can hear, like, what are the strengths within the department, what are some opportunities for growth within our athletic department, and then have plans to meet with our assistant coordinators at the high schools, and then also the intermediate coordinators, so that I can really understand what they're going through. Because just like you mentioned earlier, that everything's changed, right? And so I've been out of this world for 8 years, and a lot of things that were applicable 8 years ago may just be totally not anything that's the thing now, right? So I think it's important that I understand where they're coming from and what the challenges are in the athletic landscape right now. And then, as a department, our job is to provide support, right? So we only exist to support campuses and kids. And so trying to figure out what we can do to really maximize all of our resources in a way that helps them be successful on the court, on the field, wherever they are.
When people talk about you, they talk about, like, you're a relentless worker. You're not going to be outworked. You're not going to be out kind of researched or prepared. you know, how is that kind of trait? Can you work on that trait, or do you just kind of innately have that trait as yourself or coaches that you're trying to hire?
Yeah, so I think first of all, the biggest thing is well, I don't think that I'm different. I think there's a lot of people, especially coaches, who put in just an inordinate amount of hours, things that people in other fields would have no idea how they do it or why they do it. So I wouldn't say that I'm a separator in any way in the amount of work that they put in. I think coaching taught me how to be relentless and put the hours in. And so I think it's something you can learn. I think what I'm always looking for is somebody that the job seems to be part of their identity, right? Like it's almost a sickness. And whether I was hiring a teacher or hiring a coach, I was looking for the same thing, somebody who I can feel the passion that they have for the position. Because I think when you have that coupled with good athletes, which we have really great athletes here, you have good assistant coaches. I think we've got great assistant coaches. And I think those people find a way to make everything put together and work. And so, yeah, I don't think that I'm any different. I just think there's a lot of people, even just in our district right here, who have that same kind of relentless work ethic. But that is what I'm looking for. And I think if it's something you're passionate about and something that's a part of your identity, you're going to be willing to put the hours in because it doesn't feel like work anymore. It just feels like it's what you love. It's something you enjoy. And so that's what I'm looking for in coaches, assistant coaches. No matter who it is, I want somebody who's passionate about what they're doing.
That's a great way to put it, because it is if you're not, you can't be halfway in it.
Right. Not at all. Not at all.
You know, finally, just kind of define what you're trying to build as a culture for Klein ISD athletics. You know, it's a district. I know schools all kind of have their own vibe, but what are you trying to kind of instill as a culture of the district?
Well, that kind of goes back to what I'm trying to do now, which is figure out what's really important to everybody within the organization. And then I want to build something we can all buy into, right? Because if I come in and say, this is what I want to do, and I got 5 football coaches that are on different, or sorry, coordinators that are on different pages and intermediate coordinators who don't buy into it. So I think it's important to find, something that we have in common that we can all agree this is important and this is what we should be shooting for. So that's kind of what I'm working on right now, is trying to get all the feedback from people so that we can decide what our culture and what our identity is as an athletic district right now. And I think again, like we have a strong identity in the sports world right now. We had 2 state champs crowned at the wrestling meet on Saturday, and a lot more that were on that medal stand. So we have a strong identity. I think again, it's just bringing more clarity for exactly what we want to be known for across the greater Houston area within athletics.
What do you do? What other outside interests do you have? I love to know, like, what makes people tick that are in these type of positions. What else do you do?
Nothing. I've never had any hobbies. I don't have anything. I have 3 kids, a dog and a cat, and beyond that, I've never really had anything like that's. I've always just been about the work, and I don't say that in a negative way or make people feel like that's how they should function, because there are really effective people who have other things between golf and pickleball's the new thing, right? But I've never had any of those things. That's never been anything that interests me. I would rather be doing like working on something or thinking through something that I'm working on within my job. But I do have 3 kids. They all I have a sophomore next door at Klein High, and I have a second grader and a kindergartner, and then my wife is actually an elementary principal. So across all those people, we have a lot to do and stay busy with. So I don't really have anything else that I do.
All right. Influences. Who's kind of been your mentor? Who's been kind of your biggest influences as you've climbed to this spot?
I mean, I've had a lot. So I can point to Coach Black at Klein Forest, who he hired me my second year in education to be the JV coach there. And he's been, just somebody. I know you know him pretty well, but he's somebody who's always got a level head, who's always going to think through and be logical in his thinking and what he's doing and why he's doing it. And he's always been available for me to talk to, and just as I've grown into the administrative side of schools, Our previous principal, Jessica Krumholtz, was the principal at Klein High School. She's been really good for me because, again, she's somebody who's always going to be open to listening and giving advice and weighing in on different things. And the one thing I think that makes Klein ISD different is literally when you are working here, everybody wants to help. Everybody wants to make your school or your department succeed. Like our superintendent is different. You know, she will text you randomly if you aren't feeling well and you had to stay home for 2 days. She somehow knows about it and will reach out to you to make sure you're doing okay. I don't believe that happens in very many places this size. But she sets the tone from the top down that we are about people and we're going to take care of one another. And so, you know, it's really like I have a really big sphere of people that will support me and mentor me and help me. But I would say those two people. And then, you know, as I was in coaching, Lance Alexander has always been a great resource for me. And he got into the administrative side before me, but he's an old coach, ex-coach. So being able to ask him about different things has been a good service to me as well.
You got a good sphere. You're right about that, man. Well, hey, congrats on this. This is Brandon Baker, the new Klein ISD Executive Athletic Director. He also leads his student services. Congrats on it. Hey, man, we can't wait to see you at games and, you know,
Yeah.
see how this Klein ISD, you know, continues on. Because, hey, I went to Klein Forest. Man, you've got great culture over there already.
They're working on the statue, I heard right now.
I was hoping that you would say something like that. All right. Well, hey, go get him, Coach.
All right. Thanks.
We'll see you.
Bye.